All right, test. How you guys doing? Crazy week. It's gonna be a fun stream today. Welcome to the stream. This is the Rainbow Trends Weekly Whale Watch. We do this every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I apologize for those who don't do daylight savings time because my Aussie dudes are now an hour off. So my apologies, Pepe Cinco, especially OG Rainbow dude. The stream is intended to be used for educational purposes only, not intended to be used as financial advice. Even if you were to mistake it for financial advice, this is clearly a Ghibli art stream, and I apologize. A lot of new guys here, a lot of people hopping in the Discord as well, so shout out to all those new dudes. I wanted to point out, if you guys are starting out new and you're curious about everything, go back to the main website, and obviously hit us up in the Discord, shoot me a DM if you have questions. But definitely go check out the main website, because every single tool has a tutorial on it. These are literally videos you can go watch on YouTube. The streams are a really good reference. And then I'm still building out and working on the tutorial page. But if you click the tutorial page up here, it'll take you to our Wikipedia. So you can sit here and figure out, like, what's the origin of Rainbow Theory, what do the colors mean, tool tutorials, how to set them up. You can go through like every indicator. I don't have them all up here yet, but I'm working on them. Main thing that held me up is I have a very large update coming out for the machine learning reversion bands, and that was the next tool I was going to do, so I'm waiting for the update so I don't have to redo all the videos. But anyway, going back to it, what do you think? I think I'm missing something. Oh, another thing, if you're new here, you guys don't know, my recommended exchanges are always North American exchanges if you live in North America, but definitely go check out Kraken. If you want to get a 10% discount on the Rainbow Trend stuff, you can check us out on the tutorial page as well. But I had a moment of clarity hit me this week, and I wanted to show you guys this. Let me pause the music because we're going to play a little video. And likewise, remember, we do these streams for free and don't put any ads on them. As far as I know, I don't think YouTube puts any ads on them because I don't monetize them. So if you guys could comment, like, subscribe, doesn't cost you anything, and helps out the channel grow. So we're trying to grow it. We're getting closer to the 500 mark. Twitter's a lot easier to grow. The Discord's got like over 1,000 people in it at this point, but really trying to get the YouTube going. But I'm honestly, guys, I'm struggling to consider if I should keep streaming or just hand the show off to these guys. They're really hitting the marks. They're clearly talented. Let me cue up the audio and let you guys listen to this. Let me know what you think. If you guys think these guys can hit it up and take over, let me know in the chat.
Tariffs are good. Let's start with that.
We actually used to have tariffs with President McKinley. In the modern economy, it's hard to master tariffs. There's a bunch of other countries that we're now putting tariffs on that actually have had tariffs on us for a while.
It raises prices. And another thing, it is a form of hostile foreign policy. The state of world politics at the moment needs a lot less hostility.
If you have large tariffs on cars, that makes people then want to buy cars made in the US because they're cheaper than cars made in Japan or Germany. It encourages your own economy.
I personally think tariffs are good, but I can see how tariffs are kind of alarming Americans.
Serious though, they're killing it, and I don't know if I can compete. But joking aside, we keep doing this every Thursday. That is way too loud audio. Let me back that up on the music. Audio check, does that sound right, you guys? You guys should be able to hear the audio a little bit. Just enough to get me copyright flagged is my goal. But shout out Body of Light. I always rock their music to this. The big Rainbow Trends fans. Moving on. If you haven't noticed what Twitter has been doing lately, and it's not really Twitter, but my entire feed is nothing but Ghibli art stuff. And it's really, really impressive, to be honest. I haven't seen this. My entire feed is just straight up Ghibli art, which is really interesting. I really don't know what to think of it, but it's quite impressive. I've been playing with it all day. I've had some friends message me to delete some stuff. Maybe went a little too far, but it's awesome what this thing can do. And it's very entertaining. If you guys don't know, that's Hal Finney. Way back OG in the day. But I'm going to use this as some transitions today and have a little fun with it. But that's Hal Finney rocking it. And moving on to Bitcoin. While we're really here, right? We're not here for the jokes. We're here for the vibes and the charts, right? And looking at what the whales are doing. So we've had a very, very, very interesting and really kind of shitty situation. I say shitty. It's wrecked quite a few people. And this is not the time to be getting wrecked. I know I always say that. It's never the time to be getting wrecked, but at this stage of the game where we're getting into like the fourth quarter of this Bitcoin bull run, it's really, really not the time. If I'm being frank, this is where you spend 3 years, 4 years working something up and then you lose it. Not the time to do it. There's risk. There's times to go really hard. There's times to really not. But anyway, moving on. This is the old order blocks. You guys, we covered this. We nailed this. It was absolutely brutal to trade all this because the real rainbow volatility stuff did not come very often, and we even had 2 creeks in it. But it gave us a very, very clear order block here, a final order block of 2024, and it gave us a order block of 2021 all-time high. And we rode these levels over and over and over. The pivots and the order blocks were very, very clear. The volatility and the grinding just really sucked. We then pushed up, and we've been going through this one. We started to form a major support order block as well as a resistance, and they're pretty damn good. I say they're pretty good. They're pretty easy to read. That's what I'm saying is by good. It came pretty clear. You could see the algos were sitting there putting the pivots in it nonstop, and we clearly lit this up. And then we proceeded to completely nuke through it, and then we started to say, whoa, 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 where are we going to bottom? Because the question is, if you don't notice, there's like 10 pivots here. There's no pivots here. And there's previously, since this is the all-time high order block of 2024, there's no price history in that direction. Bitcoin's never been at these prices before. So we're looking for support, and it's like, man, if you're looking at this purely from like an order block take, we were talking about retesting like 74K, which is really, really scary because what if the bears get momentum to actually break through this? It gets real, real ugly because then we're talking about all-time highs of like 109 down into the 60s, which is a really rough take to think about, entertain, or even like talk about. So we started looking at it and we're like, well, let's see, because this is looking more like distribution instead of reaccumulation. Remember, it's either one or the other. It's either the whales are either distributing or accumulating. It's a little bit early in the Bitcoin cycle to consider this to be the all-time high, but considering all the things that we've been off the roadmap so far, the biggest one of note was us hitting an all-time high prior to the halvening, which has never happened before. It's usually after the halvening. We have to kind of recognize we're in some weird territories. We also have the ETFs approved in the United States. We have a crypto president for the first time. It gets a little weird, right? I say weird. It's not weird. It's cool. But it's clear to say, hey, maybe we're not on the same cycle. And maybe not everything's rhyming and playing out exactly. Because the instant you think everything's dead nuts and you have it like perfectly planned out, you're going to risk too much. And you're going to lose yourself to the volatility. So we're looking at this and like, what the hell is this? To me, this doesn't look like a schematic. I was really hoping this was going to be a little spring and a creek jump. We clearly went through it. But we didn't hit the order blocks, and we started curving, and we had the color rotations here on the candles. Let me go back, because I don't show this too well. I talk like you guys can understand me, which is not always the case. Obviously, you're talking to a dude who talks trading in colors and bots, but give me a second because I want to show you this. And it gives us a little shout out back to the tutorials. So if you go back to this page, you can go to the tutorials and you can go here and you can go, what do the colors mean? And this gives you the color charts. So we're getting the volatility that we have of the reds, the greens, the blues, the oranges, you name it. But on the bearish side, the whites are the strongest candles that cannot be sustained for very long. The yellows are second strongest, can be sustained a little longer. And then kind of your normal volatility are these 4 candles here. Your bullish blues and greens, your bearish reds and oranges. And when we go back to this, you can see we really started tagging and hitting these colors, but the colors started rotating from the yellows to the greens all the way, or from the yellows to the oranges to just reds and greens, and now we're starting to grind and chop back up. And dudes, I've been just watching this, trying to get a grasp of what's going on, and frankly, it's rotating. And we got 2 H4 bottom prints. That H4 bottom print is my go-to. I always have the the runner bot on alerts for the H4 Bitcoin and the H4 Ethereum. That's how I kind of ground myself on the market. Sometimes Bitcoin's really, really hard to read, so I want to read the number 2, which is Ethereum. And sometimes Ethereum's really hard to read, so I read Bitcoin, and it gives me kind of a general sentiment of the market. I really pay attention to the S&P 500, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's looking bottomy, that's when I'll start looking at like longing alts. If Ethereum's looking bottomy, same thing. It kind of gives me that confluence in that. But anyway, Funner Projects on YouTube wants me to do Fart Coin chart. We can look at Fart Coin and the liquidity. LC, did you ever see the 5-8 rule or whatever it was? They got so many people to exit short thinking they were going to play out again. No, I didn't. 5-8 and 5-3. You're making me think Chevy GM engines. But back to this, high time frame H4s, which I typically hang out is, you'll notice on the volume 2, this was something I picked up. The whales are driving into this trying to find a bottom, and they're running out of fuel. You can see that these sell candles on the split volume tool are getting weaker and weaker. And you're seeing a bottom form here as this volume bleeds out. Now, with the split indicator tool, we look at both sides. We look at the bullish and the bearish sides. I don't care about which candle won. I care about both sides. Was there a lot of selling while there was a lot of buying? Vice versa. And now, we've had this dive into the sweep into liquidity, and now we're pushing into here, and you're starting to see bump, 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 and we're getting some buying here as well as some well prints. So it's not reversed yet. We haven't reclaimed support yet, but there's subtle arguments to say, hey, this is actually looking like support, not down here, which is good. It means you found a floor higher than we expected or had a clear cheat code to, right? Because we were in such uncharted territories, it really was, as I turn volume on everything, it really was kind of concerning because we didn't have a really clear definition here. Like I said, there's nothing really here. On the lower time frames, you can get some pivots in here, but it wasn't super, super amazing. But with that being said, we saw the volume bleed out on the bears. You can see them increasing it until they run out of fuel, and then it starts decreasing pretty clearly. And this is on spot Binance, which is my favorite data. So now I've kind of been looking at this lower time frame, and this is really interesting, and I'm really, really interested in tomorrow. If we go down to like the lower time frame, say like the 30-minute, and let me clean this up a little bit. I keep my stuff for H4. I don't keep it super tuned for the lower time frames. I apologize. But this has been really interesting. It's really forming like a consistent pattern here. So we're starting to channel walk kind of on a really, really low time frame, which I don't like calling channel walks on lower time frames. I just don't. But it's kind of really, really consistent right here. So I'm wanting to see if this is coiling before it moves up, or are they just trying to sit there and distribute without actually nuking the price? I really don't know yet. Tomorrow I think will be really telling. We'll see. Guys, it's getting close. It's getting close back to this order block. So all the people calling for 50s, it's trying to go back up through here, but if you can see, it's a freaking war field, battlefield of the bulls and the bears fighting each other. There's pivots all over this damn place. So what I'm leaning towards telling you, or what I'm saying to you guys, it's not just going to go do. It's going to have to battle through this, probably reject, come back up, hit it again, and then try to break through. When there's big order blocks and resistance and stuff like that, you never just smash through it. You have to hit it a few times. It's like trying to tip over a refrigerator. If you want to quote Jerry Seinfeld, you gotta give it a few pushes before it'll fall over, right? That was his response to like a breakup. You can't do it in one. You can't just tear the Band-Aid off. You got to give it a few goes before you can finally break up with your girl. But anyway, that's where Bitcoin's at. This is really what matters. We're getting some pumps right now in the market on the meme coins, which is nice to actually see some type of volatility. But this is, if you haven't noticed, I haven't been posting too much on Twitter. I've been super busy with a bunch of stuff, but in real life, not this fake life with Ghibli art, but this is the order block that matters. Too long didn't read. This is an hour-long stream, and then we hang out in the Discord after this stream, so definitely come along, by the way. This is what matters. This is the order block that matters. This is all that matters for me right now. My next decisions in life are based on this order block. If we can reclaim this thing, not just touch it, but actually get some support, get some candles closed above it, we are talking 100K back on the table. And if Bitcoin reclaims 100K, all hell will break loose. And I say all hell breaks loose. The news story is just going to pump. It's such an easy thing to promote and say six-figure Bitcoin, bull, 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 right? That's a big thing. People will get attention. You have a pro crypto president. You have Bitcoin reserves. You have all this different types of stuff. You have ETFs going crazy. It's setting up for it. But we're not there. If this was white candles deep into this reversion band, I would have already said bottom. This is starting to form bottom, and it's a subtle thing. And what sucks is we're going to go look at the Ethereum chart in a second. It's really not so clear on Ethereum either. So time will tell where we're at, what we're doing. But that's how I'm looking at it. And I'm going to be very, very kind of chill, not bull posting like crazy until we reclaim this order block. But until that happens, I'm going to be focusing heavily on Ghibli art. So that's the truth. That's how I look at it. If you got any questions, hit it up in the chat. Thanks for those who are watching on Twitter as well as YouTube. If you guys don't know, the YouTube chat actually kind of works better. And that's where most of the people chat. So if you want to join on the YouTube stream and chat with all the OGs, please do. But moving on. Cycle-wise, remember we were talking about time frames of where Bitcoin's going to go. Is it the fourth inning, the third inning, the second inning? We are in the later stages of the cycle. I've covered the Mayer multiple a lot in the past. I need to update these numbers because the Mayer multiples played out a lot since I've originally drawn them. But we're getting very, very close to this window. If you guys remember my old windows of drawing this, these are kind of the market cycle peaks. If you look at like the stock to flow colors and all that of where this stuff goes and when the markets typically peak, you've got usually a window of, hey, regardless of price action, this is typically the time frame at which Bitcoin forms a peak, whether that's a double peak, a parabolic peak, a slow run up to an all-time high, or a brief run it up in 3 weeks and then fade to a 60% down draw. You never know. I'd like to think it's going to be less volatile, but who knows what leveraged ETFs will do, all this type of stuff, option trading, we don't really know yet. But the time frames aren't going to change. They're all based on the halvenings, and they're based on the previous all-time highs. We have every print on every single one of those on Bitcoin's entire history, and this is kind of the window we're looking at if you take all that data and put it back into here. So the first day of that window is April 11th, which is not far away, and the real like more in line window starts on like June 6th. So we could potentially peak here, and that would match all the previous cycles, or we could potentially be peaking over here, which is more kind of a more likely thing to do. Regardless, you have to know the further we go into this window, the higher the targets go due to the Mayer multiple. We'll never break this Mayer multiple, so I hate to break it to you. Bitcoin's not going to $500,000 this year. But if we drag this thing up, the targets move up and to the right, and that's what we want to follow. So shout out to the dudes who came up with the Mayer multiple. I visualized it. That's what this tool is here. So I took their standard deviation math and turned it into something you can actually visually use and project. Their data just kind of shows you if you kind of are in a top, but I went ahead and figured out you could project the data to try to figure out where they are. The 2.4, the 2 to 2.4 is really, we want to see this tagged. And if we see that tag, we are basically in the end times. Whether that's 6 months, whether that's 2 weeks, we don't know. It it's the same. Otherwise, everybody would be billionaires. Just got to keep that in mind. Nexus, Blade Runner, how are you, my friend? If you guys don't know, if Nexus is at every roundtable, like every week, if he doesn't show up for a roundtable, we actually submit a missing persons report to the police. But that's the Mirror Multiple. That is the Bitcoin rainbow charts. Let's look at the ETF flows. Let's refresh this page because some of the data is coming in now. Bitcoin's down, but the ETF flows are moving up. So they're buying, they're onboarding. Since March 14th, they've actually been bullish, which is impressive. So it's hard to see, man. I mean, this is what's crazy too. It's like there's some of these ETFs where there's zero flow, and then there's others that are doing so much. I don't really watch the Ethereum flow anymore, but I do keep an eye on this. It seems to be a very lagging indicator, but I still keep an eye on it. But since we're talking about Bitcoin, let's talk about our favorite influencer. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I apologize if you haven't seen this news yet, but the police booked and arrested BitBoy again. I think this is his third, maybe fourth booking. I don't really know. But they got BitBoy, and that's gonna be a rough go in the prison. He's probably drying out pretty hard right now. And it wasn't really clear why he was arrested at first. But apparently he can now confirm. I guess he confirmed this before he was incarcerated, because I don't think, well, maybe he's out on bail. I don't know. Maybe he is. But he can now confirm that the warrants for my arrest are due to me sending emails as my own attorney, by the way, to the dishonorable Kimberly Childs of the Cobb County government, who has now deleted her Twitter. Public official hiding corruption one day at a time. So, on the good news is we got another mugshot. On another good news is the lore of BitBoy continues to go on. It's frankly straight out of like a movie what this dude's done with his life. It's kind of crazy, and he's probably like one of the only guys who could hang with Biden. Forgot what the son's name is, but like he's probably one of the only ones. But anyway, if you guys don't know, I've been playing with the chat GPT Ghibli Fiddler, and I may or may not have asked for it to make a mugshot cartoon style for him. And guys, you have to so by the way, if you guys don't know how people are doing it, you have to have Chat GPT Premium and use the 4.0 model, or the 4.0, the small o model, and it'll allow you to do this. It's frankly impressive. I've been having so much fun with it all day, if you can't tell, because I'm a busy guy and I'm a BitBoy Ghibli things. But with that being said, I'm bullish on the tech now. AI has a use case. I'm very, very, very bullish. So let's check out my favorite AI coin, Render. If you guys don't know, this is one of the ones that actually was showing up at an NVIDIA press conference when people lost their damn minds. It's actually been one of the bigger things running this week. Whether or not it's because they rainbow danced so many times into these reversion bands and printed white candles, I don't know. But it made a huge, huge move here. This is an actual yin-yang setup. If you go look at some of our old stuff talking about yin-yang trades, it's a 67% move. Now, you're not going to catch the bottom. You're not going to sell the top perfectly. That's not really a thing. But there's a lot of damage you can do here. If you got just a little piece of it, that's talking like 20%. So, who knows? What's up, Ryan? So, that's what we're kind of looking at. Frankly, I've been trading Render on a bot platform. I've been trading some rainbow bots with Render on Kraken for a bit. I've been forward testing live trading this coin, and it's been super consistent. Every single time it bleeds into these rainbow bands, it tends to pop. Not every single time you get a full reversion to the other side, but I've been using the bots to buy this stuff up while I sleep. I've been forward testing integration with Kraken. I used to use like Binance and stuff like that. Now I use Kraken. The fees are so much lower. Plus, they're also like an affiliate, so I like supporting them. I really like Jesse Powell as well. So even though he's not the current CEO, he's still the CEO of my heart. So Anyway, but I wanted to share with you guys. I have the code in TradingView, as with all my other tools, but the bots specifically are running on TradingView as well. And something I used to use was AutoView. I used to use AutoView where you ran it locally on your own computer, and it's kind of phasing out due to some of the Google requirements of like the way plugins and stuff work. But they now have a autopilot where AutoView runs in the cloud, and I've been using this for about 5 months now. I'd used the previous setup for like over 2 years, and so far I've had 100% uptime on render, and the trades have been going really, really well. Even with fees attached, I think I turned it on around October, November of last year. And up until this month, it actually broke 52% on spot. So I've been adding money to it and letting it run, but it's been live trading, and the live trading is like been 100% matched up to the actual like trading view data. So it's been a trip to watch it do that, because it's buying rainbow capitulation. So it's a bit nerve-wracking because you're literally buying into major capitulation events, but it's 50% in like 4 or 5 months right now. So until we get some serious volatility, I'm really going to just focus a little bit more on that. But moving on, we're talking about the tech. We're talking about Ghibli. Apparently they launched on a token as well, which I'm surprised actually how long this took. And that's kind of crazy. What? I haven't seen a block like that before. What tool is that? It's glitching out. Oh, those are whale prints because the data's broken. That's awesome. This is a 5-minute chart with the volatility. But apparently there is a Ghibli token now. So I guess this is a meme token of the meme AI generation. Maybe it's the next best privacy coin. I don't really know. But it's bullish apparently. And trading on WEX, which whatever that is I don't really know. But it's trading on Sol. So let's check Sol out, because we've got a bunch of Sol diehards. I'm not super crazy about Sol. It moves weird to me. A lot of people trade it on lower time frames. I like it on the daily and the H4. And this is like one of the only cryptos that I like on the daily. But right now, the major support and order blocks, it's very, very clear. These are not hand-drawn ones. These are drawn by the algorithm and tools. 200 to 186, that's your resistance. We broke through it twice and really nuked through it. And then we did a liquidity sweep here. And then you actually saw Malifestro in the chats, in the Discord, actually start longing it. I think he actually got the bottom here. I hope. This is a little bit of confluence with like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's looking like it's forming a bottom in a non-technical level. Solana is nailing a technical level and sweeping it. We have reversion bands here. We have candle color prints. We have HMA cross, which is this line here. We have no Mali pivots yet, but anyway, the point is Mali's going pretty hard on Solana. That's his token. You should definitely pay attention, and his entries are lining up with like my old school daily order blocks, which is something to maybe keep in mind. It's looking good here, frankly, and if it does look good here to you, we're talking about a potential 50% move to the top order block to just wick this from the bottom, from the top of the bottom order block. If you really want to talk about like the Pico bottom, which we didn't catch that, right? No one does. And the reason I tell you that, it is possible. Just don't like beat yourself up. Be content with grabbing a little bit and chilling and sitting on some profits. There's really like 87% here, but as you've seen in the past, the previous runs reject pretty close to that bottom part of that order block until they don't. So you've got to be conservative, because this thing may do this, right? And we want to be trading that if it is, but we don't know, right? We're going to have to see some serious volume. You can see where the volume showed up here and the whales pushed it and it went up and over, because it's very, very hard to get through that order block. Remember, Solana's at like all-time highs, right? So we're talking about price discovery into all-time highs. It's a bit tricky and a bit hard to do. You're not just going to sit there and throw a few dollars at it and get the whales to push it. That's just not how it works. So anyway, let me know what you want in the chat if you're thinking Solana looks bottom, because to me it actually kind of does, and I'm not a big Sol bull, but it's We haven't got an H. Well, let me check it on H4 real quick. To be honest with you, let me check H4. Yeah. Bottom. It kind of looks like Ethereum at on the H4, but it's kissing this level. It's liquidity swept it twice, 2 or 3 times. This may start going, but there's order blocks everywhere. So, moving on, we went to Solana. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. This was posted, one of the iconic CEO photos of NVIDIA getting giblified. So, I mean, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of NVIDIA cards spooling up right now at OpenAI to generate this type of stuff. But NVIDIA is continuing to bleed, which is super scary. This is the Titan that wouldn't stop, and now it's finding a top. This actually kind of looks like Bitcoin a few weeks ago, to be honest with you, now that I look at it. You guys see that? I'm not going crazy, am I? Do I still have Bitcoin open? This is... No, give me a second. I didn't see this before the stream. So... Let me kill these tabs. So, NVIDIA and Bitcoin. All right. I can see the chat blowing up, but I can't read it yet. Hold on one second. This is... You guys see that, right? Like, this is this. This is this. And then you have the movement after. That's actually really interesting. I'll make sure it's on log, yeah. Either way, that's eerily similar. Remember, this doesn't run on 24-hour candles. But the thing is this is going to be coming down. This is going to be your support order block right here, just in case you don't see it. And it's going to be really, really scary if they break through that. Right now, it's literally rolling over and pulling back, which is scary because this is one of the biggest assets on Earth. It's pretty scary. Anyway, here we go. NVIDIA is going to $60. Amigo. That's a lot. Fartcoin to 5 cents. We'll take a look. Just remind me. I got all this stuff queued up, so I gotta mentally run through it all. But we take a look at TrendSpider. So this is the insiders on NVIDIA. And frankly, if you can tell, the insiders have only been selling NVIDIA forever. Frankly, these are the dudes who should be selling it to become millionaires. But I haven't seen any buying. That's what I'm kind of interested to see, is if buying happens. Because if a CEO sells, that's cool. Like, that's not bearish. Meta is like one of the best performing stocks in the world right now in this downtrend of volatility. But like, which means like Zuckerberg sells every single day because he's got just billions and billions and billions of it. But I'm really wanting to see if anybody starts to open up and long this. We can go check Nancy Pelosi. She has not reported since January 17th, but she did buy NVIDIA on December 31st, and she may still be long. So if that was the case, she bought around 140. So Pelosi, one of the greatest traders of all time, she bought at like 140-ish. And she's taking a down draw of like 25% if that's the case, which is interesting. She longed it. She didn't short it. So keep that in mind. But yeah. Shout out Dan. TrendSpider's really growing on me. And look. Check it out. There's a Rainbow Trends tool working on there. But moving on. Back to AI. Me hearing a pleb knows who Satoshi is. Like, this is an amazing one. Like, that nail sailor even has the orange tie. I absolutely love it. And moving on since we're transitioning from Bitcoin, we're going to move on to Ethereum. If you can't tell, like, I've had a very fun day watching all these. But moving on to Ethereum. So, as you can see, my messy chart. The one thing I've really been focused on Ethereum is just like, hey, let's bleed until we don't, was kind of the message from the last one. And it's looking like we may have stopped the bleed. And this is a very subtle read. I say it's a subtle read. These type of, where you're just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding for a long continuous run, it's very, very hard to try to figure out a technical bottom because the volatility is not here to say, hey, bottom. And we're not really bouncing off the exact, I mean, that is an exact level, but we didn't V bottom off of it. We popped and then we kept bleeding. Now it's kind of formed this downtrend here, is kind of how I was reading it. You can see the continuation here where there's a little deviations above it. For the most part, the candles hold there. And even here when we broke through it, they tested it from above instead of below. So I've been watching this to see if it just keeps going under that line. And so far it hasn't, because frankly we'd be at like $1,500, which is nice. It's seeming to hold 2,000-ish, and it's trying to turn. So if Bitcoin curves up, reclaims like that order block we talked about, remember? We're looking at Ethereum doing the same thing, but there has been no volume yet. So I would just love to see volume like this show up here and start walking back up and call that the very bottom, and then we could work our way back up to 4,000. And then we get to the major resistance order block, which has been the top since March of 2024. So that's the king one, and you can see how price reacted perfectly. This is why you see me talking about taking profits at the bottom of these order blocks. This thing hit it twice, and it still didn't make it through. It's pretty crazy. Anyway. I don't know, dude. Nexus, God hates Ethereum for sure. Speaking of that, we can take Ethereum. I have not looked into Ethereum Classic, but we'll look at this and we'll look at Fartcoin because of the chat requesting it. Oh, yeah. So we Ethereum Classic looks awful too. We have a channel walk here on Ethereum Classic. We know how channel walks typically bleed out like 60% or more. Let's check it. Boom. 59.99%. 60% of the time, it works every time. Long story short, when you get these big channel walks, it's kind of a rainbow theory trade. Not too many people study these too much, but it's a really easy thing to follow. They go up until they break, and then once they break, it is a long bleed. It's not a short bleed, it's a long multi-month style bleed. And I typically look at these on higher time frames. I want a very clear channel where there's a bottom support algo and a top support algo, and the whales just sit there and do this. And then they break through sideways, and then it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. And we actually got one here on Ethereum Classic, which is cool. So now that we've done 60%, sometimes they go like 80, sometimes they go 90. It's not like a measured move where you can call it perfectly. It's just like, hey, be careful here, because when these break, they can and will pull back like 80%. So you can go look at old cake charts. You can go look at old Ethereum charts. You can spot these channel walks like a hawk, and you can see how they bleed out and pull back. So shout out to the dudes who trade the channel walks, because I looked forever on documentation on it and I never could find much on it. And it's a super easy rainbow trends like thing to study as well as trade, because when you get that channel break, that's when I take profit and I just chill. And I don't mess with it, because a lot of people will see this big bullish move and they'll keep trying to scalp this thing while it's sitting there bleeding out. You don't want to do that. When I say bleed out, I call it like bleed to green. It's like bleed from these really strong colors to bleeding into like weak colors. And you have this huge commitment from the whales. They're pumping this thing up, and then they just slowly sell off continuously and bleed out. So everyone sees this move and they keep longing this, thinking it's going to continue. And the reality is the whales are gone. The whales have taken profit. They're out of position, and there's not much you can do. I mean, if you want to, if you're a dude who likes to short downtrends, look for these. They're rare. They don't happen a lot. So shout out to the channel walkers, because those Those hit so damn hard. All right, the guys in the chat on YouTube requested Fartcoin, so we can go check this out. I'm not a big fan of it. I have a mental block on it, and it bothers me. That is not it. That's far. Sorry. One letter off. I was like, man, I'm pretty sure this has some major exchanges. Why is it not showing up? Crypto. Why is Fartcoin not showing up? We have literally looked at this before. Fartcoin is the ticker. Ah, you're right. There we go. I was like, dude, there are some big exchanges. So, some big exchanges is that trade this. So, yeah. This is what I was kind of talking about, bleed until you don't. And this is the thing, too. This is why you don't see me mess with meme coins a lot. We saw stuff like Bowden pull back like 98.9%, right? I'm not super crazy about trading these. Now, the guys in the chat who do nonstop trading and always have a terminal desk open in like the Discord, like not to name names, Pixa, but we know who you are. There's volatility in these. So when like Bitcoin's messing around with like 1 or 2% moves, you zoom in on this on low time frames, you're talking about big swings and volatility that guys can sit there and scalp this. This doesn't, like, zoomed out, this doesn't look like a lot of chatter. That's a 67% move inside the mix, right? So they do really well. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this at this. They're really playing these things on like 15-minute and lower time frames. It's not my thing, but we've got some absolute killer rainbow traders who do that. But what we did see was the reversion bands get hit multiple times. And these colors are a little hot, so I'm going to increase these a little bit on the exponential to cool them down a little bit. That's all I need. 3.0 and just give that a try. Looks good. All right. So multiple drives. We rarely ever touch the orange band, but you have to also remember Fartcoin hasn't existed very long. I really like stuff that's existed more than like 2 or 3 years, preferably at least a cycle. We don't have that yet, but the data is building, and you can see where the algorithm started actually adjusting here to give you the machine learning upper band, and then adjusting here to give you the machine learning lower band. And sure enough, they've been giving us the tops and bottoms of this, as they're designed to do, right? The orange bands are the never been done before, and it'll keep moving those downs until it quits touching them. And once you have that area, it's like literally, it's like short of this thing hacked and going to zero, it's going to bounce off the orange bands at some point, and that's what these traders hit. And right now we hit, and it finally started reverting back on the machine learning as well as the standard bands, and then we've gone on a hell of a run, which is interesting because it went on over a 200% spot run, guys, and Bitcoin's been down. So one thing that we haven't seen since Bitcoin has been like kind of falling from that order block, everything has just been bleeding, not showing any signs of life, right? Just little dead cat bounces here and there. That's it. This week we've had meme coins run hard, like the new meme coins, obscure ones. We've seen SPX 6900, whatever it is, going on a crazy run. We've seen Fartcoin run. We've seen Render run, obviously, but that's not a meme coin. That's the tech behind the AI, right? So, anyway, moving on. Yeah. Matt from YouTube says he's a buyer when Sharkcoin is trending on X. I actually like the idea of Sharkcoin because it was the same principle, just more liquidity, right? So yeah, this is what I was talking about. So if we go to CoinMarketCap, I love this website. I often go to the 7 days and I see what's trending in the past 7 days. And what you're seeing is like meme coins actually showing some life. The past 2-3 weeks, like no one has been willing to commit to anything. Nothing's pumped, sustained, just little tiny blips. Now we actually have 7-day trends clocking in at 40%, 30%. Even have CRV doing a 33% run, which is crazy. Now, I remind you, Curve token is a Tetranode Gauntlet coin. I don't mess with Tetranode Gauntlet coins, but shout out to those that do. But also, look, check out Render. Render, Sui, Radiant, Bonk, Sonic, previous FTM. Why would they rename FTM? Anyway, it's interesting. We're starting to see meme coins bounce while like Bitcoin's not doing so hot. Now, the one trade we did get Rainbow style this week that I actually played was Orca. And I'll walk you guys through this one because I ended up getting really fortunate with the timings. So I woke up one day and was doing a bunch of my engineering stuff and was casually checking in on the Discord, and Pixa tagged me and was like, dude, look at Orca. And Orca proceeded to do a 288% run in a single day, which is nuts. I had no idea what the news was. I had no idea if it was on only Coinbase, if it was only Binance. I did not care. The only thing I cared about was selling. Now, I had like a long-term Orca bag, so I'm going to walk you through this strategy I use with the Rainbow stuff. So it sounds really counterintuitive, but I sell high and then I buy low. I don't buy low, sell high. What I do is if I have a bag and have a position, I'll sell high on a Rainbow blowout, confident that price is going to go down. So basically what I'm doing is hedging my position until I can buy back lower and increase the overall size of my bag. So say I have 1,000 Orca. If I sell these Rainbows up here, there's a fair, like, we're pink candles in the cyan, pinks and cyans. That's what I always say. Pinks and cyans, pinks and cyans. If I sell a pink and cyan, I sleep like a baby, not having to worry that this thing's going to come back down and get me a lower entry. I almost always get it. And what I did was I woke up, saw the Discord tagging me about Orca. I market sold my entire long-term holding bag of Orca right around that level. I missed this. I wasn't paying attention when it hit. Shame on me. And I just waited on it. If I got really, really lucky or fortunate, this would have been like a BART that would return back to here. But that's like the home run. Take what you can. Selling up here is a home run anyway, so I don't try to get too greedy. But what I saw, it rapidly bled out. And I then figured out on Twitter, shout out the Twitter feed, I believe it was BitGet or BitGo listed Orca. And that listing is what full sent this, and we just saw well prints for like an entire day. So I instantly went into major profits and just sold everything, and I rebought back in. So I sold up here knowing that I was going to get back into my position at a lower price, so that way I could multiply my bag for free, so I could have more Orca just sitting in my cold storage. And I say coldish. And I bought back somewhere around here. I waited for the candles to kind of bleed out, and I bought somewhere around here, and I ended up making, I think overall, don't quote me on this, it was like 30 something, 35% increase my overall bag is what I could have done. But what I did was I made, well, let me just double check. Hold on. Yeah, it was like 26, 20. It was about 30% what I was playing with. So what I did was I basically took half the cash that I made from the move, put it into Bitcoin, and then took the other half of the cash and put it back into Orca entirely. So my entire Orca bag went up like 15%. And then I took all the extra profits of this. Instead of going 100% back into Orca, I skimmed some off to the side and just put them in Bitcoin cold storage. So I took profits into Bitcoin and then reallocated back into my original position. And since then, it started popping again, and we started seeing the bleed out here. And then it popped again for some reason. I don't know why. But the other thing I want you guys to get sensitive to, sentient to, there we go. Since we're talking AI, this is the profile of bleed to green. This is the bleed out profile. You see this massive, massive volume impulse from the whales, and then you see it bleed out. So this is where it's like, hey, they're selling into this until they find a bottom. Where would that be? We got some pivots on the 30 minutes. I didn't scalp down here, but I got somewhere around. It may have been down here. I don't remember. I got up like 30% on the trade, and I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to get back in and not sit on cash anymore. And fortunately, I did, because it pumped afterwards. And so my entry was way lower than those. So anyway, not to toot my own horn, I'm just telling you guys, like, that's how I do pinks and cyan trades if I already have a position. It's just a free way to make your bag bigger or skim some of your profits out. So like, say you had 1,000 Orca up here, you sell it for 30% cheaper, you can sell here 1,000 Orca, re-enter here with 1,000 Orca, and then you're left with all this cash that you can pull out of the trade and use for other things, or put the cash back into Orca and multiply your position to a higher bag. So pinks and cyans, trading rainbows, trading with the whales on a whale style token. But anyway, holy cow, we are almost up to an hour. I'm going to run through this. So that took a tangent, but a good tangent, because that's like actual trades. You can go see those in the Discord. But anyway, thanks for all who are hanging out on YouTube and Twitter. Like I said, we're trying to get that YouTube subscribers up. So if you guys can, blow up the chat, hit the like, comment, subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us out. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite Ghibli art regardless, because it's just so cool. If you guys don't remember the Paris breakdancing, the one and only breakdancing event we'll ever see, because it went so damn bad they banned it after the first time. And then I couldn't believe this happened, but it did. The actual White House got in on this, and an illegal alien who was trafficking fentanyl got arrested, and they Ghibli'd her and posted this on the White House, which is, I don't know what simulation we're in, but this just makes me feel like we're in a simulation, because I can't believe, like, guys, this is legit. This is the White House posted this today. I don't think they deleted it. They're even doing that type of meme. Let me see. Where is it? Well, anyway, you saw me click the right thing. This is the actual post, and I cannot believe they're doing that, and I don't really like it. Speaking of things I don't like, it's just so good. What's up, Pepe Cinco? It's so good. How bullish NVIDIA. I'm bullish on the tech again, guys, but we got to be serious. We have to be serious. We have to lock in. No more art. Guys, I'm gonna be serious. We gotta lock in. All right, moving on. One more. Sorry. Shout out Sherlock Hoddles. This dude's awesome. I'm so glad he got hired to go do some stuff. But moving back on to trade. I say do some stuff. He got hired as like some media or some social media like consultant jobs. It's pretty cool because he's with what's that group called? Monad. Monad hired him, which is awesome. Let me show you this real quick. A lot of people have been really paying attention to Carsan a lot, and I wanted to show this real quick. So let me peel back the music. Let me turn up the speakers, and then we'll play this real quick. Because listen to this, because this is kind of interesting, because it's something to be prepared for, is all I'm saying.
Again, our view has been pretty clear that, we think that a bigger decline is coming. I'm not saying that this is it here. I think this is kind of that warning shot. And we timed this to almost the day. Feb OPEX was the start, not a coincidence. Everybody points to, but the window had opened, all the mix of a combination of things that, this macro stuff I was talking about was all on the horizon. We could see it coming, but the timing, is very important. So I think, Feb March here has been the window for some pullback, some initial kind of vol expansion, a bit of a warning shot, which we often see before a bigger move, months before a bigger move, whether it's 99, or you go into 07. You have similar things like that. I'm not saying that, these are the same. It's a different kind of move, but I do think a bigger one is coming, and I think it's coming in this year, or sometime in the next, call it 12 to 18 months. I think, and we're not talking about garden variety 10, 20%. I'm talking about something bigger.
So he's calling for like a over 20% pullback on the S&P 500 in the next 12 to 18 months. And if you remember, what we were looking at on our Bitcoin Mayor multiple chart, we're looking at like really 4 to 8 months is where we're looking at to get the Bitcoin all-time high. And Kim's calling for major pullbacks, which is concerning because he nailed the recent blow off to a T on the date and all that. So it's kind of interesting because that dude's got foundations to say why he thinks it's going to pull back. And if we get an S&P pullback, he's not talking 10 to 20, he's talking bigger, right? So let's assume he's talking 30 or 20. We'll just go with 20. Talking about a 20% pullback on the S&P 500. You're talking about 4,500. You're talking huge pullback. This is interesting. Now, I will tell you this. If the S&P pulls back down to the 4,500s, Bitcoin's not going to be like 100K unless people are going to Bitcoin as a flight to safety, which I highly doubt in this market. Typically, when S&P shits the bed, so does Bitcoin. So, anyway. With that being said, I really like H4 bottoms. We have an H4 bottom on Rainbow Trends plus an HMA cross here. And I've been watching this to see what it's going to do. We started doing really well, and then Trump started talking about tariffs again, and the market got spooked. I'm super interested to see what happens tomorrow. But we'll see. Like I said, I know it sounds, oh yeah, well, we'll see. We've got two pivots here. We have an HMA cross. We have a bottom print. We could form a bottom back here and reclaim back up to 6,000. We could. And maybe we do that, hit Bitcoin all-time highs sometime in our windows, right? Because remember, we're kind of looking towards the end of the year is really where the end of this 4-year cycle ends on Bitcoin. So let me draw a little vertical line here. I apologize for this running late, but we've got a lot to talk about. That's December 1st, sorry. That's New Year's. So really, we need to top out Bitcoin somewhere between here, and then Kim is talking about anywhere from now to 18 months. I can't even see it. I need to go to like daily. That's gonna look awful on daily. He's talking about 12 to 18, which is here. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. 12 months to April to 6. It's really, he's talking, yeah, anyway. I'll come back and draw it later. We're not running time, but he's talking, anyway. I want to wrap this up, get a Bitcoin all-time high, and then we can take some profits and then get out of there. Mag 7, moving on. Mag 7 is not looking good. S&P's down. Well, it's not Mag. Microsoft's down, even though they have the baddest quantum chip allegedly in the world. Nvidia's bleeding. We covered that earlier. Tesla is bleeding really bad, but it bled out so bad it's actually pumping, and some of us may or may not be long. Amazon, not so great. Apple's maybe starting to do a channel walk. Maybe. It just takes a while to form these, remember. You can kind of suspect them and then wait for confirmation. Meta's really the only Mag 7 that's doing anything impressive. AMD has a channel walk. Oh, shout out Pep. I say Pep. Stacks. We actually have a channel walk break with a retest. That may be the Pico bottom for AMD. I love channel walks that are down, that break out, and then they retest the channel and then go bam. What's up, Slip? Yeah, Slip. AMD broke the channel you mentioned last stream. Yeah, it did. Now that's what I'm saying is I want to see it retested. I want that bad boy to run. If this is a channel walk retest, that is the Pico Schmico bottom of the retest. That's what you want to see. Frankly, I like seeing that before the full-on run, so we'll see. Anyway. Matt the Vulture from YouTube. Josh Mandel, the guy who predicted Bitcoin at 84 on Pi Day 3 months prior and got it right, saying it was 96.44 by Monday. I'm not so crazy about people that call specific numbers. That's why I trade colors, but there's a lot of people that do pie in the sky stuff. But speaking back to Dan Ushman and TrendSpider, this was awesome. 0 days without a tariff headline. Right now, the market is super overbought on the S&P TradeFi markets, and every time the president mentions the word tariff, this stuff goes nuts. And sure enough, the White House said it was going to scale back the April 2nd tariffs, and markets started to recover. But then he started talking more about it. I think it was today that like they're going to do like 25% auto tariffs, which is really going to be interesting. Now, speaking of auto tariffs from foreign countries, you're thinking, oh, Chevrolet, oh, GMC, oh, Ford, Dodge, all that type of stuff. A lot of the quote-unquote Detroit Steel American cars are made in Canada and Mexico, or at least the components are. Tesla is one of the most American-made vehicles, so is like Toyota. Albeit Tesla is like way up there because they don't really outsource a lot of their stuff. It's basically inside. But with that being said, you know how I love volatility and rainbow reversions. This is a badass opportunity, and we covered it the past few streams of when and where to get long on this. I had a friend who went in 6 figures on spot Tesla and made a few paychecks in a few days and sold it. So just keep in mind, white candles, super scary to long because everybody's capitulating, but you're getting to a point that the bears cannot sustain it. They cannot sustain these paints for long. You also can't stay in this reversion band forever, unless you're just a dying company or you're like Luna. Even like FTT couldn't hang in here that long. But regardless, we got white bleeding from pink candles all the way to white candles. We have the RSI X prints rotating as well. And then we finally quit printing RSIs. We got an RSI bottom. We got an H4 Bitcoin bottom. We had a candle color rotation where we went to the strongest bearish candle, and now we're starting to rotate into weaker candles. We're almost to the point where we're flipping to bullish. The last time Tesla did this, and this was a little more volatile, was when the media back in 2022 really turned against Elon and it nuked. And the same thing happened. H4 bottom, RSI rotation, white candles into the bands. And what did it do? 100% move. 113% move on Bitcoin, on Tesla. Which they have Bitcoin reserves, so it's clearly Bitcoin, right? I'm joking. HMA cross called the bottom as well as the top here. And then we got the freaking top signal from the runner bot. If you can see why I pay attention so much to the H4 runner bot, this is why. The ones that are kind of in the middle of the range, I don't pay attention too much as most. But when I get volatility bottoms down here, I pay a lot of attention. So when we're talking here, we're talking Bitcoin. Sorry, we're talking Tesla. If we were to get a 113% move, you're basically talking about a move right back up to the all-time high. Not all-time high, but is it? It is the all-time high. Regardless, that's what's possible. The other one was a little more volatile as how fast it went into the bands, but this is the same exact setup, guys. So I may or may not be long. I've had some friends long this with size as well. And my target, it's pretty easy. You just want to call the Mally Prince, call it 424. Just call it 420, and we'll call it a day because they love that. Right? Either way, getting long here. We've reclaimed this resistance order block. We're going to try to turn that into support, and then we are going to try to send it and get back up here. And from here, I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going to exit the position and go. But remember, this is an art stream. An art stream that we're trying to get the YouTube subscriber count up to 500. So if you guys can, click subscribe. Be awesome. But auto tariffs, let's look at Ford. Remember, Ford has a lot of Mexico production, but they've been working with the Trump administration to move stuff into America. But their car sales are not doing so hot. These tariffs are probably maybe going to hurt them a little more. We just don't know yet. Or frankly, even if these tariffs are going to happen, it's all talk. Until it's really like April 2nd, we're not really going to know. So that being said, major support here on Ford has been broken twice. We're now bleeding through it. I do not like this. This is like a continuation of the bleed, and the reversion bands are much lower than they used to be. So you're talking about continuation potential. We just haven't seen reclaim support. If we get above $11 and we can keep that, I'll pay attention. Moving on to GM. GM has much better sales right now. They're one of the few auto manufacturers that I think has it right. They kind of went against the EV grain, and they kept making reliable American V8s, which is what GM is really good at selling. Ford trying to get into the EV game is not the greatest decision in my opinion because they're just not known for it and they're not really good at making EVs. So either way, remember this one? GM played out like a perfect Wyckoff. You had the creek, you had the spring, you had the SOS, you had the clear order blocks top and bottom. And now it's just kind of been trending and moving up and down. Today it nuked. I do not know the story why. It was a considerable nuke. But as you can see, this is why we pay attention to pivots. That stuff holds really, really well. And it gives you an advanced notice where to put your like stink beds. So there's a lot of rainbow traders that literally just layer their things here and they get a little wick candle and they get a fill and then they go really into position. But moving on. One of my other favorite memes that I've seen this week is this one, is the summoning stuff. And this is somewhat fun. It's actually very fun, but it's also tied into like a big message that I've got to wrap this show up, which is running long. I apologize to the dudes who are waiting for the Rainbow Trends Discord roundtable, which happens every Thursday after the stream. Come hang out. It's a free, paywall-free Discord. I love these. So I just love those. But he's trying to summon the generational bull run. We had a really pullback that looked like this of a fractal, like of 2020. And it's kind of looking like that with there. So we're wanting to see 2025 launch, go to full Valhalla the next like 8 months, 4 to 8 months, and then call it a year. So we're getting towards the end of the cycle. And you're asking yourself, did I make it? Did I have Lambos? We're getting close to the end. I'm big in profits, but I'm not like retired. I'm not at go tell my boss to go F himself. I'm going to go do my own thing on a beach for the rest of my life. Maybe you're not there. Maybe you are. You're probably not listening to this if you are. But if you are close, you need to start considering, I say close, even if you're not close, you need to be cognizant of where we are right now. Otherwise, you're going to cost yourself a cycle. Been there, done that. You need to know that end times are coming close and you have profits that you need to realize. If you don't realize those profits, don't be the round tripper. Most alts go to zero over time. Just about all of them do. Ethereum is $2,000. We have price action Ethereum at $2,000 for a long time. So I wanted to spend the rest of this stream talking about hedging. And I used to joke last cycle that, man, how about I just sell all the Bitcoin and stuff that I have and just buy a bunch of Toyota Supras and put them in storage. The 1990s Toyota Supra, the real Toyota Supra, because they don't go down in price. And you don't have to pay capital gains on car sales. So if I have a car that I bought for 60 and sell it for 90, it's free profit, right? You don't pay anything back to the government. Not that this is tax month or almost tax month, but pay attention. Bring a Trailer posted this week, and I about spit out my coffee. A 2002 Toyota Celica GTS sold for $51,000. 5 years ago, you could have got a turbo Toyota Supra for $51,000. This is crazy. These were never popular. First off, I just cannot believe this price it went for. So I went to Bring a Trailer, and you can actually go look at the price trends of where the Toyota Supras have sold over the past, like, since 2018, past 7 or so years. And you can actually go look at what they've done. Now, mind you, some of these are right-hand drive, Toyota, Japanese imports. Some of them are OG, legit left-hand ones. Some have 5,000 miles. Some of them have 100,000, right? The prices vary, but you can clearly see there's a floor price, just like an NFT. So I'm actually kind of considering this. Again, it'll be interesting. But regardless, all serious aside, this is definitely don't listen to Rainbow Runner talking about hedging in Toyota sports cars. Don't do that. Let's be serious. And one of the things I looked at, been playing with Grok, and especially with the deeper search, and I said, hey, Grok, what is the highest APRs I can sit on cash with in the United States that are through traditional banking systems, preferably like FDIC secured? And to save you guys some time, because this Grok beta deep search, it cranked through this in about 5 minutes, going through logic and searching. But I wanted to show you this because this is what it came back with. Here is a list of banks that will pay you certain APRs to sit on cash. Some have minimums, some have fees, da-da-da-da-da. Now, mind you, Coinbase will give you, I think, 4%, and I think Kraken will give you like 5.5%. But if you're really, really scared and want to hedge some outside of the crypto industry, take your profits elsewhere, you're looking at getting like 4% to 5%, really 4% to 5% through traditional banks just to sit on cash and do nothing. So back to the original thing where I was talking about, hey, are you guys making it, or did you not make it? Did you partially make it? Did you realize profits? I wanted to show you guys kind of the breakdown, because you're eventually going to have to take profits at some point to realize these gains and sit them and not play with the market, because the Bitcoin market takes years to bottom. It takes years to run up, right? We want to sit cash and we want to sit comfy. As painful as it is, because you want to go chase the next meme coin, like, you're going to have to call your tops and just chill and be really, really boring. And it sucks to be boring. But I wanted to show you guys this. Most people consider themselves retired over $2 million, but I've showed this in $100,000 increments, looking at a 4-year percent APR at a bank, a 4.5, and a 5, and what those results in monthly. So assuming, and this is not compounding, so this is just showing you like rough estimates, right? But say you're not a millionaire yet, but you were able to cash out $100,000 post taxes. You're looking at like $4,000 a year in interest on the weakest to up $5,000. So let's look at the mid ranges here. You're looking at $375 a month. That's not going to pay all your bills, but that's going to probably buy you gas, buy you some groceries for the month. You work your way up to like $500,000. I know quite a few people that are that high up in crypto on multiple things, just 500K. If you can get 500K out, that can be your base, that can be your rock, and you can get like $1,800 a month from a bank just sitting on cash, being boring. This can be your safety deposit to chill out. Your rent's going to be paid. You're going to have food on your mouth. You're not going to have an awesome life, but like, if you have struggles in your life, you get laid off on your job later, stuff like that, $1,800 a month guaranteed. That's almost guaranteed. That's not something to sniff your, to joke about. I don't want to talk about $1 million, but if you did get $1 million, you're talking $45,000 to $50,000 a year, which is like $3,700 a month. That's not killing it. Maybe you have a big house payment that's not going to pay, but like, if you're young crypto dude, stuff like that, that's a nice safety net, is all I'm saying. Is you can park your cash, you can get APRs through Coinbase, you can get ones through Kraken. You can also get these through the banks, and you can use Grok to go figure out which ones you're felt. And a lot of them are FDIC insured. So like, you want real safety, say, oh man, the bank that gives you 5% blows up, FDIC is going to protect you, right? That's the point of it. So this gets you the safety net. Even if you made, like, let's just say you did actually make $1 million, like it's $3,000 to $4,000, $3,500 to like $4,000 a month. That keeps food on the table. That keeps you from stressing out about not having at least a minimum, like a cheap ass apartment. Your life can live on. You can survive a lot of things, and you can sleep better. You don't have to worry about stuff like, hey, all hell breaks loose. My boss tells me it's over. You can chill out, right? So the other thing, going back to kind of a comical light, if you're curious about how you get that cash delivered to you, apparently Robinhood is unveiling a feature where they will allow you to get cash delivered to you just like food or an Uber. So I am imagining this a lot like Grubhub or people just randomly dropping off cash. I'm sure this is not going to cause a crime wave. I'm positive it's not. The market's going to regulate itself, and we're going to be totally fine. People aren't going to just randomly get robbed dropping off Robinhood banking statements, are they? I hope not. Maybe they do it through the mail. But door deposits of cash. Maybe like a little mini armored car shows up with like armed dudes and they drop off a bag of cash. I have no idea. But then I'd be worried about people following those cars and saying, okay, that address, definitely going to come rob them in a day or two. It's really scary. But like I said, the market's going to regulate itself. We're going to wrap this up. Apparently, the market has created a vape with a Tamagotchi inside of it that dies if you stop puffing. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up the stream. Thank you all for coming out. Please smash that subscribe button. Give us a like, all that type of stuff. These YouTube algos are great. We do this for free. We don't put ads on this stuff, so show us some love. And we are going to go hop in the Rainbow Trends Discord and go hang out with the OGs. I'm going to do open mic. If you guys have questions to me, you guys want to show me your charts, you guys want to ask input from the other OGs, the Rainbow 3 style, it's all good. We hang out there and have a really good time. But I'm going to log off tonight. I'm going to go hop off in the Discord, turn off my cameras, my screen shares and all that, and we're going to go hang out and have a good time. So come join us. You can find all the info on the main website. Or just click our links. All this stuff's in my bio. You can see the Rainbow Trends there as well as the Discord link. The Discord is kind of hard to find, but they're always there. But anyway, thank you guys. Talk to you later. And I'll see you soon.